A Happy New Year, a che machte omedeto. I'm going to present here my design for original Ambigious. To start the exercise in the theoretical phase, I started with Heidegger, and the bridge of Heidegger was one of the most important elements that I came across. Also other elements like Rome and dwelling and Paris are all interesting topics that I was introduced to by reading the book. Another book that was also really important in my research was Norbert's Genius Loci. Things like Imago Mundi, understanding the place and how you interact with the place were really interesting in things to read about and to discover. My design therefore wanted to make a structure that experiences this place. It needs to gather and it needs to unify the place that it is built in. As a first starter, I made these sketches with the different landscapes and then placing a building in it, and it starts to change. The landscapes changes, the building changes, and they have an interaction to each other. I saw that a horizontal force, one that is devoid of mutual obstruction, is one of the interesting things to introduce into a landscape. It reacts really well to the landscape, and it's a corridor that gives a rhythm and structure to the landscape. Therefore, it's a revealing building, and it can change all over the place. I made 8 landscapes that are totally different. They have different phenomena played and different characters, different vegetation, but because of the diversity of it, like I could introduce a lot of changes into the structure that makes the dialogue come true. So I really searched for a variety of landscapes. I placed this corridor structure inside of all eight of these landscapes. First by sketching it. This finally resulted in these 8 concrete blocks that I made with the structure then placed inside of it. Here you can see it on movie. You can really experience that volume that is trying to go in confrontation with actually the side, but that way also revealing elements of its surroundings. Just these basic, how the light moves and how it is located is really precisely defined, and I really tried to look at how it could best possibly embody the place and experience that location to the fullest. Also a little bit in forest and how it then hides inside of the forest that really was trying to look at. Now it's about introducing these system inside of all 8 of my landscapes. So it's really looking at all the details of the structure, and here in these sections you see a little bit of my process of designing this, which system A or B or C will be used, and how it then why and where it happens. This creates all 8 of these variables, and then I made, for each 8 of them, I made a sketch. So these sketches are depicting how the structure and the differences would then be inside of the landscape. As you can see, like here it's buried, it really has a fine dialogue and a really interesting dynamic. So then I want to make my final design. I chose the bay as my final execution. This is a 150-meter long structure with 51 frames. A part of it is on the mainland, then a part of it is in an inlet, and then you have also the connection to the island. The rhythm of the structure then also changes towards these three elements. Here on the island it's strong, here in the inlet it is cutting inside of the sea, and here on land it is obstructed. The structure is quite close to each other. Because of the three systems, you create a kind of a wave pattern. This wave pattern slowly changes throughout the structure, and you can see these 51 frames next to each other. You see how they change. Each single one of them is different. And then you have the core that is located in the inlet. It's in between of the most important elements, and it harbors the place and its most important location, I think. So the building actually tries to combine all elements of the place. It tries to understand it. It tries to make a logical process of the place and embodies then that location, that atmosphere, that cosmos. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. And now it's over back to the webcam.